because it's just, it doesn't make sense to talk about it and when no one has the science. It just sounds too out there, and I get criticized for that. And so there's this fine line that I sort of walk between the credibility of the work, alienating people because of the technique, and what I'm trying to say about the nature of the world. And I think that that's the most difficult part of it, because I think sometimes that if I was forecasting these things by reading tea leaves, that people would be more receptive, rather than telling them that, well, our heliocentric worldview has to change, because it's a false abstraction. And so the people are going to have a harder time with that. And so the relationship that I'm pointing out between the sun being a composite node of the Earth's hypertime translation and the apparent hydrogen frequency energy that we see coming from the primary time axis is a symptom of the hydrogen bonding and unbonding that's happening here on the Earth, is just a little more than most people, most scientists can deal with. And then once they see it, they either lose their mind, or some of them, from the perspective of their peers, find God or see the light, and they're tormented at in this sort of dark age that we're entering into. Hey there. And so that sort of thing aside, the details about this are the thing that I'm mostly interested in. The thing that I'm primarily interested in this are the details about how to calculate the accurate hypersymmetric activity from these events. I think that technology, if it doesn't exist already, from the clues and the data that we have, I think with projects like the Solar Dynamics Observatory and some of the other earthquake monitoring systems that we're getting, that will be a possibility in the not too distant future. And so I'll warn you, this hill is even steeper, and I try to put the camera close to my mouth so that I'm not disturbing the people in this neighborhood. And so you get the breath, but it's not that there's anything wrong with my breathing. I'm totally fine, in pretty good shape. I could have run this distance in a lot shorter time, but I can't run and vlog at the same time. And so I mentioned that the forecast ignored the larger cycle, and that there were two sorts of events. And one of them is called I refer to as the warm finger effect event, which is a lot like touching an ice cube that's in the process of freezing, and it shatters from the warmth of your fingertip. I don't know if you've ever had that happen, but that's the warm finger effect. And it has to do with the heating and cooling trends within one another. When there's a heating trend and then there's a sudden drop, or when there's a cooling trend and there's a sudden spike, those are the two events. And so that is what I sort of neglected in my last vlog, my last watch. And I don't want to be too much of a nationalist in my clear favoring of the analysis that I do for this part of the world, but I only have a limited amount of time and very limited resources right now, and so I have my interest. It is what it is. And that's on the table. And I realize that there's a lot of others out there who have other interests, and they, unfortunately, some of these people would like to see me spending my time on other things, and they push me and they nudge me, and this makes my life very difficult right now. And this has been my this is my legacy. This is the story of my life. Ever since I was in grade school, the teachers have bullied me. They basically would bully me. Well, some of them, they would love me, or they were scared to death of me because they figured out I was smarter than them. And it's really ironic when people will acknowledge that someone is more intelligent than them, yet they try to tell this other person what to do. And I'm in a position where I can't even trust my own mother. And it's really sad. I mean, there's these sorts of people who are the kind of people who would tell Einstein that he thinks too much. The kind of person that when Einstein was alive, he probably got a lot of that. You think too much. What are they doing? They don't even think. They don't think for themselves, and so they think that no one else should. And as far as personal problems, that's my biggest personal problem right now, is that contingent of our civilization. And I think that contingent of our civilization is going to be its downfall if we're not very careful.